and this here may be tough to you. Snack cake to me, yeah, more hostess. This been overdue forever. Asked me when it was dropping, said never. Should've made you cut the feta, but I designed it Freemason Margiela.
What's good, Shellitronnn here, the most smoke, no joking. I'm gotta get another brand new video and won't bluff. For y'all who already been on the channel for a while now, you already know this, but for y'all who it's the first time seeing my face, I don't usually do this kind of content. But before we get into all this, man, make sure you hit that sub button, make sure you smash that like button, hit me in the comments, say first, second, third, who is first out here, and let me know. Let's get into it. There was so much hype behind this sporting event, this international sporting event, that just grew from a beef that honestly 5 years ago, maybe even 3 years ago, this would never have happened. You would never think that two YouTube stars, two dudes from the internet, everyone beefs on the internet. We all know everyone beefs on the internet every single second of every single day, in every single comment section, every single Facebook, Twitter, Instagram post. There's someone beefing, someone's mad. But who would have thought that we would have gotten to the point where two YouTube stars at almost the very top of the food chain on the internet, not just YouTube, but the internet and video makers in general, would have an international boxing match that would sell out a 20,000 person arena and be streamed to millions of people watching around the globe. I watched the two brothers fight. I'm talking about Deji versus Jake Paul and KSI versus Logan Paul. This was actually a lot more exciting, a lot more engaging, and way more impressive than I originally thought. I'll give a brief little go over of what happened in the Deji fight with Jake Paul. That's kind of the undercard, not the real fight we're all looking forward to. The general thought going into that fight was that Jake Paul was gonna win that fight first round, probably a knockout, like not even must-see TV, like, okay, we all know Jake Paul is a big guy, so I mean, and Deji's not the biggest dude in the world, so for the most part, we're all thinking, you know, Jake Paul got this in the bag, but believe it or not, Deji came out with a lot of heart. It wasn't nearly as athletic as the Logan Paul KSI fight. Neither of those guys were nearly as cut, nearly as fast, nearly as big as those guys, but there was a lot of really good fighting going on there. Obviously, it went a full 5 rounds, but Deji was showing a lot of really good heart. He had a few hiccups here and there, got caught by some really good jabs, but I think to everyone on the internet's pleasure, this dude cracked Jake Paul's nose multiple times. This dude hit him in the face with some really quick snipes out of nowhere, and I'm talking about, I think Jake Paul really got surprised. He was flabbergasted. You can see on his face. You can see on his face, he's like, wait, what's happening here? We're in the second round already? He's like, oh, we're in the third round and my nose is still busted. They had to stop the fight for a little bit to clean up Jake Paul's face. Jake Paul was getting his face smashed in. But it lasted 5 rounds. You can see that both of them were getting gassed, but Deji was extremely gassed, and his corner ended up just throwing the towel in. Jake Paul won in 5 rounds, but that was definitely a very impressive fight. Deji for one. Jake Paul did show a lot of heart there too, but I was really impressed with Deji. And then Jake Paul took the initiative to go ahead and launch his new merch and go ahead and start plugging other stuff. And he even called out Chris Brown. That's really the biggest thing about this fight. It wasn't really the fight itself, but Jake Paul calling out Chris Brown out of nowhere. He said, look, I gotta call someone out. Now, I don't watch a lot of boxing, but I was surprised to let the loser talk after the fight. And then Jake Paul said, give me the mic back, I gotta call someone out. I don't think he's gonna call out someone like Mr. Beast or a ninja or something like, you know, a publicity stunt. But this man calls out Chris Brown. He said, you've been talking about Soldier. How about we and you get in the ring? I want to see where this goes. I would never think ever in my life, y'all know me, man, I would never think in my life that I'd be like actually entrenched and interested in two YouTubers beefing in a YouTuber fight, but Jake Paul versus Chris Brown, this is a whole nother demographic you're talking about. This is gonna get Black Twitter on the thing. Now that's all about that. KSI and Logan Paul. What we all were really looking forward to, I think. Man, I can't get over that Chris Brown announcement. But what we're all looking forward to with this KSI and Logan Paul, definitely way more hype. They both walked out to their diss songs, which makes sense. Look, when Logan Paul walked out first, he had the little breathing mask, a little half Bane mask going on. I was like, okay, Logan, that's kind of toughy. He had the black on, the Maverick obviously robe, and that was kind of clean. KSI showed up like 3-4 minutes later to his own song, and he had the full skull mask. I'm like, hold up, what's up with these two wearing the mask? What's up with this mask theme going on here? I don't know. Is that a YouTuber thing? Are we all wearing masks? Should I have worn a mask for this video? Who knows? But they both came out looking pretty swaggy, and it was apparent from the start, from the second they took their robes off, this was going to be a much better fight. Logan Paul is way bigger than Jake, and KSI is way more cut than Deji. So it was, you could just tell from the offset that it was going to be a much better fight. And as soon as that first bell rung, you could just tell these two were way more athletic than their brothers. And one thing to note is that Logan did have a 4-inch reach advantage on KSI, and he used it to his advantage really early. I mean, we saw a lot of good athleticism out there. You know, Logan Paul toned it a little bit. You'll get a few shots in, KSI swinging, but it looked like at first, I mean, in the commentary, obviously it was in the UK, so both the commentary and the people out in the stands were really, really going for KSI. It became apparent that JJ was really going for that big swing, and Logan Paul was a lot more comfortable out there in the ring than JJ really expected him to look out there. Logan Paul was holding his own after JJ missed a few of those shots, and Logan landed a few of those hits himself, a few hooks, and a couple of those jabs. Logan was putting his hands down. Logan was smiling at him, giving him the little rope-a-dope, giving him a smile like, okay, hit me. He was like, he had his hands out like he was Jesus Christ on the cross. He said, look, here's a free shot, and KSI could not buy a connecting shot in that first round, and it was looking dark. Times was looking really grim for KSI to begin the fight, and it was looking really bad, I'll admit it. And then the second round came around, we're thinking, okay, KSI, come out here, you're gonna come out here and try to get your bearing again. And he got up when he was in the middle of the ring a full 10 to 15 seconds before the second round was starting, because it was apparent from the jump that he wanted to get back in there and get his fight and get back into the heads of the audience. Like, look, I'm back out here and I'm ready to go. And that second round did not go his way. Second round did not go his way again. Logan Paul was out there doing his thing. You just see, Logan Paul was kind of towering. He has a really big frame, and he was definitely using it to his advantage, whereas Deji and Jake Paul have no idea, never even heard the words bob and weave before. They never even heard the word dodge. They haven't seen a Ben Stiller movie in their life. KSI and Logan Paul are actually moving around, actually punching, counter-punching, ducking, bobbing, weaving. Like, it was actually a very, very impressive fight. You probably didn't think that they were actual YouTubers. This was actually looking like a pretty standard amateur boxing match. The match went a full 6 rounds. Logan Paul won the first 2 rounds kind of easily. KSI or JJ came back in the 3rd round looking like, look, I gotta get right back in this. He threw some pretty wild swings. He had a backhand swing on Logan. He even, after a breakup, you know, the ref came in, broke him up a little bit. He even snuck Logan Paul right in the face as he's getting broken up. I was like, look, you might be looking at a DQ. Do that one more time. After the backhand swing and after that kind of sneaky, I'm gonna call it dirty hit off of KSI. I was like, look, you might be cruising toward a DQ coming up soon. They weren't gonna do that. They couldn't have done that. Unless it was a low blow. They weren't gonna DQ this match. And the 4th round went to KSI, in my opinion, too. Maybe actually went to Logan Paul. I think that was a little bit more even in the 4th. But it became really apparent by the 4th round that KSI was still showing a lot of energy, and Logan was maybe slowing down a bit. He was still having to be a little cocky, you know, talking to him, yapping at him, you know, showing him the teeth, smiling at him and everything. But it became a lot more of an even matchup than the first 2 rounds would have indicated. You would have thought, I mean, I'll be honest, I was thinking that Logan Paul was gonna KO KSI in the first 2 rounds. I thought when I was watching those first 2 rounds, like, look, this looks like a very uneven matchup. This the way that Logan was built looked like it was a very uneven matchup. 5th round came around, and JJ was looking like he was ready to fight. Like, he was actually on his 2nd, 3rd win maybe, and Logan Paul was looking kind of sluggish, a little more sluggish, getting a little more wild with his swings. Like, it became not even like they weren't even blocking anymore. There was no kind of protection. Their hands were down. It was all about, you know, going out wide with the swings, going out and making sure, look, I want to get this knockout. I think by the 5th round, beginning of the 5th round, KSI was thinking to himself, I gotta get a knockout here because I'm probably not gonna win by decision. It was looking pretty even early on, and Logan Paul was still being pretty steady with his jabs, and he was still, you know, throwing a few of those things in there to get a few solid hits, you know, getting body shots in there when he was coming up his face. And I think KSI's thought process going into the 5th round was, I need to go for a home run hit, because if I don't, then the judges aren't gonna look favorably on me right here. And then 6th round came around, they're both gassed, obviously both super gassed. It became a fight of heart. And between all that talk that went into it, all the talking, all the songs, all that trash, all the deep cuts, the talking before the fight, you all know, if you talk a lot of stuff about someone and they're in your face, you gotta back it up. There's no backing down, there's no throwing in the towel, there's none of that. There was a point where I thought KSI was about to get knocked out. He was getting beat to left and right. Logan Paul had some 3 pieces. I'm telling you right now, Logan Paul went to Church's Chicken, he went to Popeyes, he went to KFC, he went to Bojangles. Y'all know what Bojangles is? He went to every single chicken joint in America. And he said, teach me the way of the 3-piece. He said, bink, bink, bink. He was hitting KSI KSI with every piece of chicken, the thigh. He had the leg. He had the breast. He had all of them. He had the wing. He was giving him the wing a little bit, man. I'm telling you right now, I thought KSI was cooked. I thought he was cooked. That 6th round came around. They're all just swinging. KSI had combos. This man said, "Do you want fries? Do you want them curly fries? Do you want tater tots? Would you like a hash brown with that, sir?" He had combos upon Logan Paul's head top, and Logan was looking like if that fight would have lasted 30 more seconds, Logan Paul was gonna get KO'd. He was trying to wrap up, get tangled up with KSI near the end, because he knew he was gassed, and one proper shot would have knocked him out cold. I'm talking about Ice Age 4. Was there 4 Ice Ages? Those movies got bad after the second one. I'm talking about it was horrible. But this fight really could have gotten a KO. And at the end of the fight, we're all anticipating a really good decision here. We're like, okay, who's gonna win this? I know it's close. It's really close. Ref walks into the ring after a little bit of deliberation, talks to both sides, comes to the middle, and you hear it. They say every judge's score. The first judge has it 58-57 in favor of KSI. You're thinking to yourself, okay, what's happening here? What's the next judge gonna say? Next judge, 57-57. It's a tie. Okay, this next decision, this next one right here has to be a big margin for Logan Paul. Who's it gonna be? Another tie. Majority draw in a championship fight means the champ retains their title. And all this means is that they get to promote a rematch. It's what we get. We get a rematch here. I think this was maybe planned a little bit. I don't know. But I'm actually more excited for this Jake Paul, Chris Brown situation. Will this actually happen? Will Chris Brown answer? I'm not sure, man. What are your thoughts on the fight if you watched it? What are your thoughts on the Deji Jake Paul fight? What are your thoughts on the Logan Paul KSI fight? Let me know in the comments below. And you already know to do that like button.